Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our bridge design competition. If you've never used the West Point bridge design software before, all you have to do is launch it on your computer. So you may want to do a search for it. You could try doing WPBD and the program should show up. If it doesn't, you could also try typing up Bridge Designer and it shows up. So click on it to launch the program. I'm just going to give it a minute to open up here. And once it opens up, you want to create a new bridge design and simply click OK. In the first challenge, you need to create a truss bridge that follows all of these specifications. And this is really quite easy to do. You just need to put all of these features right here into the wizard. So you're going to click Next on this window. And it asks you if you are entering a local contest. You're going to say no. And then I don't see the next button down here on my window, so I'm just going to click Enter. It takes me to the next window. Now for this challenge, you need to build a bridge that is 24 meters, which is what we have here. If you'd like to change the deck elevation, you could do that through here, but we're just going to leave it at 24 meters. So just FYI, if you would like to make your bridge cheaper, you want to try and build the deck elevation high, because that way you don't need to excavate the mountain and you would save on excavation costs. In terms of the abutments of these supporting structures here, they just want you to go with standard abutments in this challenge, so that's what we'll do. You don't need a pier, so we'll leave it at no pier. You also don't need cable anchorages. So you would only need cable anchorages if you were building a cable-stayed bridge. So just to show you, if you click on cable anchorages, you see these two little dots here, which is what the cables get attached to. But we don't need cable anchorages for this one, so I'll just leave it at no cable anchorages. And then if you don't see the next button at the bottom, you want to click on this little arrow here. You'll see the cost calculation and you'll see a button that says Next, so click on that. And now it asks you if you want medium strength concrete or high strength concrete. Medium strength concrete is cheaper, so that's probably the one that you should stick with, unless it asks you to do otherwise. In this challenge, they want you to use medium strength concrete. So we'll just leave it at the default, which is medium strength concrete, and you want a standard 225 truck, which means that your bridge is going to have 2 lanes. You could also choose the 480 kilonewton permit loading, which is you just have one truck in the middle. But they ask you to use the standard 225 kilonewtons in this challenge, so that's what we'll go with. Click Next again, and then based on your choices, there are a bunch of templates that you can choose from. Or if you choose not to use a template, you could simply go with none and then build your bridge from scratch. In this challenge, they don't ask you to not use a template. It doesn't say that you can't use a template. So if you wish, you could just go with a template. And I will in fact use a template for this one, and I will use the simplest kind, which is called the Warren Truss. And then I'll click Next. Now, if you like, you can type your name here, but you don't really have to. So I'm just going to leave this blank. Click Next again, and then it gives you some instructions as to how you can go about building your bridge. You can read that if you want or not, and then click Finish. So here's your drawing board, and we're mainly just using 2 tools. We're using the Joint tool, which you will use to draw little joints, just like so. And all you need to do is click on these circles in your template to make the joints. The other tool we're going to use is the Member tool. And so members are just these connectors that connect one joint to the next. Okay, and you can see that you could draw this pretty quickly. And I'm also going to connect these ones here. Okay, just a few more to go here. Okay, and there's my bridge. Now, I actually think that these members are a bit too thin. They're at 140 by 140, and I'm afraid that my bridge might break. So I'm just going to select them all, and I'm going to make them a bit thicker. And I'm going to change them to, I don't know, 180 by 180. And then I'm going to click on this blue button here, which is the load test. So once I click on that, you see that a truck appears and drives on the bridge. And you see a little green arrow, which means that the bridge passes. It means that it passes the load test and it is strong enough. Now you'll notice a few things about the load test. You'll see that certain members get really bright red, and then some get really bright blue when the truck passes. So the red members are the ones that are under compression, which means that when the truck passes, these guys are actually getting pushed together, whereas the blue members down here are under tension, which means that they get pulled apart. And you'll see that there are some members that don't get very bright at all. So these members are the ones that are not being used to full efficiency. And if you wish, if you'd like to make your bridge cheaper, you can go back, select those members, and reduce the size of those members. So for instance, I noticed that this member was actually very light in the load test. So I can reduce the size of this member, and you'll see that that reduces the cost of my bridge. Now, to make your bridge as cheap as possible, you want to go through as many members as you possibly can, and reduce the size of those members without compromising the strength of your bridge. So your bridge still needs to pass the load test, but at the same time be as cheap as possible. And in the next video, I'll go over some strategies for how you can make your bridge as cheap as you possibly can. Okay, so go ahead and build your first bridge and have fun today.